Stop worrying about the bats and the newts. That is a message the Chancellor wanted the nation to hear yesterday. She followed up on her big growth speech. Here she was talking to us.
There are trade-offs, and the balance has gone too far in the direction of always protecting every bat and every newt. And as a result, the costs of infrastructure are significantly higher in the UK than pretty much any country around the world.
Let us talk to Craig Bennett, Chief Executive of the Wildlife Trust, who is on the line. Morning to you.
Good morning, Justin.
Is she right or wrong?
She's wrong. We've moved on from a long time from protecting every bat. Natural England worked out a scheme to change that a long time ago. And I get that it's much easier politically for the Chancellor to blame bats rather than say Brexit for the state of our economy. But if the Chancellor really believes that bats are at the root of our economic problems, we've got a problem.
Well, in fairness to her, she was answering a question from me, but it was a specific question, and it is about specific costs that we know have been borne. So there is this £100 million bat tunnel on HS2, and there is a real prospect of tunnelling also having to take place on the Oxford to Cambridge line. So these are specific things, and I suppose the question is, should they happen or shouldn't they? And she's saying they shouldn't, and you're saying they should, are you, at any cost?
No, let's talk about that bat tunnel, because there's been an awful lot of misinformation about that bat tunnel over the last few months. Did the law, the planning system, require HS2 to spend £100 million on a bat tunnel? No. Did Natural England tell HS2 they had to build that bat tunnel? No. What the law required HS2 to do is to avoid harm, if it possibly could, to the bat populations, or, if it really can't avoid that, to undertake strategic compensation in other ways. In other words, create new bat habitat. So the principle is always to avoid...
Just on that there, because that's such an important point. So you're saying HS2 actually have spent this money, or intending to spend this money, because it's not built yet, is it? In a way that they really don't have to. They could just move the bats at half the cost, or less.
It was HS2's idea to build that bat tunnel, Justin, something that's been lost in the media coverage on this. Actually, what we would have much preferred as a Wildlife Trust, what Natural England would have much preferred, is for them to think about this before they decided where to put the railway line, and to hopefully avoid the most important bat areas, or indeed create large areas of habitat to compensate new habitat for bats. HS2 came up with an engineering solution.
Yeah, and that's really interesting.
HS2 came up with an engineering solution to an ecological problem. And I would say, Justin, that this example of the bat tunnel says very little about the state of our planning system or nature protection in this country, and it says everything about HS2's failure to manage costs carefully.
Yeah, but I wonder if you and the Chancellor are on the same page then, because what she told us, just from memory of the interview that I did with her yesterday, she was then saying, well, that the bats should be moved, and that there should be a way of organising that, and there will be a way of organising that in the future. And that, I think, is what you're talking about as well. I mean, not just with bats, but with other...
Yeah.
When there is an ecological problem, there is a solution that can be found, but it will involve taking the wildlife away from places where we want to build.
Well, first and foremost, we should always avoid the wildlife when we can, and we think that HS2 could have done a much better job of avoiding that. I think the same would be true with the Cambridge to Oxford line. But look, Justin, that you are right that there is a deal to be done here, very simply. There is a national consensus to be found. It's worth reflecting that right now, all the main environmental groups in this country, with, let's face it, combined memberships, many, many millions, much bigger than any of the political parties, strongly support the need to build new energy infrastructure and support the government's Clean Power 2030 target, strongly actually support the need to build millions of new homes. None of us are really arguing against that. What we do want is that to be done in a nature positive way, so that we can rebuild our natural infrastructure at the same time as building new energy infrastructure, building new houses, and also so that we can build the sort of regenerative, flourishing economy that we desperately need for the 21st century, that delivers health outcomes, clean water, builds resilience for the future. There's a prize here of a national consensus, and the Chancellor seems to be wasting time on a fight that she doesn't need to have.
OK, well, she will hear that message loud and clear. Craig Bennett, Chief Executive of the Wildlife Trust. Thank you.